I'm Sandra. I'm a teacher trainer, and learning designer at Circular Learning. And today I'm going to show you how you can use the bulk create feature in Canva to save yourself a whole lot of time and write some great personalized feedback for your students. So I have an academic English class and I want to write some personalized feedback for some practice presentations that my students did in class. Here I would like to give them this feedback form with their individual names, some individual feedback for each criteria that we were assessing on, and an individual comment. Now, I have 7 students in my class, so it's not a huge class, but you can imagine that it would take some time if I wanted to type these in one by one. So we're going to use this Canva bulk create feature to speed up that process. The first thing that you're going to need is a template. I'm using this presentation template which I made in Canva, and I'm going to drop the link for this template in the comments below. So you can use this one too and adapt it for whatever task you're giving feedback on in your class. If you're making your own template in Canva, the only thing to remember here is that each piece of information that you want to personalize needs to be an individual text box. So once you've got your template, or if you're using my template, the next thing that you need to do is type out your students' feedback. So that might be when you're watching their presentation or you're marking their writing. Create a table for all of their feedback. You can do that either in Microsoft Word or you could do it in Excel. So I've chosen to do it in Excel, and here you can see I have all of my students' feedback, making sure that I have the same information in my table as in my template. So here you can see I've got the task, the name, and then the individual piece of feedback for each criteria and the comment that's going to go down here for each student. I'm just using Excel because I like to be able to use the drop-down lists here and put the different criteria and make it a little bit faster to choose it. But of course, you can just do this in a Word document and create a table. As I said, the most important thing to make sure is that you have the same information in your template as in your table. So we are now going to bring the information across into Canva. So I'm going to do the first student, or you should do the first student as an example or as a sample. So we're just copying and pasting and putting this information into Canva. Don't worry, you don't need to do this for every single student. We're just doing the first one because, as you can see, when I copy and paste and put it into Canva, the information doesn't fit in those boxes. So I'm just resizing and getting it looking how I want. And this will be the same for every student. If you had shorter sentences for your feedback, you probably wouldn't need to do this step because it would fit straight into that box if it was just, good job, keep trying, that kind of sort of short encouragement. Or if it's a score that you want to include there, a number, you wouldn't need to do this resizing process. But I'm just doing this so that it all can fit, and then we know that it's going to fit for each student. So the last one is the comment. Here we go. I'm just going to, let's put that a little bit smaller. Select all and change the font there. Yeah, that's better, because we want to make sure if we've got any longer sentences in the other students' feedback, we want to make sure that it fits and it doesn't kind of go over the box, and we don't want to have to go through all of them individually later and fix them up. So That's looking pretty good. That's how I want it to look for this student, but for all of the other students. So now I need to bring the information from my Excel spreadsheet into Canva. So I'm going over here into my toolbar on the left-hand side here in Canva, and I'm looking for bulk create. I've already used it, so you can see that the bulk create tool is sitting down the bottom here. But if you haven't used it before, you might find it here under apps. So you click apps and look for bulk create. So click that one, and you can see that there are 3 steps that we're going to go through, and Canva's got them up here with the instructions of what you need to do. So the first thing we're going to do is click this enter data manually. There are a couple of other ways to do that, but we won't go into that today. We're going to click this one, and you can see that you have this table here. This is the example from Canva, so we're just going to clear the table and start blank. Now what I want to do is recreate the table in my Excel spreadsheet here in Canva. So I'm just going to have a little look at it. I want the same titles, so task, name, content, fluency, vocab, audience, and comment. So click in here, task, then add text to get another column, name, content. The next one was fluency. Let me just double check that. Content, fluency, yep, vocab, audience, and comment. So vocab, audience, and comment. So I should have all the same here. 1, 2, yep, that's right. So this is really important, as you'll see in a minute, to have the same titles up here as you do in your Excel spreadsheet. So now that I've got that, I want to copy and paste all of my information from Excel, click into that first cell there, Control V to paste it, and you can see I've recreated the table from my Excel spreadsheet here in Canva. So I can close that Excel spreadsheet. I don't need that one anymore. Now we're just working in Canva. So I want to click done, and nothing's changed. This is still the first student, but you can see over here on the left, we're up to step 2, which is where we want to connect data to our elements. So this is all of our data down here. And the elements are those text boxes, those individual pieces of information that we want to populate. So to connect this data to that element, I want to click on these 3 dots here, go down and find connect data. And then this is the name, so I'm going to go to name. So now you can see why it's so important to make sure that you have the same title when you recreate that table in Canva as the information in your Excel spreadsheet or your Microsoft table. So I can connect the data. That one's name. This one is task. And I'm just going through and connecting everything. This one's content. You can imagine that if I labeled these as numbers instead of using those correct titles, it would be pretty tricky to figure out what I was connecting here. This one is audience, and this one is the comment. Okay, so Canva has ticked these off for me down here to show me that I've connected everything, and I can also see that in each element here, you've got the kind of name of the data with that little bracket around it. So you can kind of double check that you've got all the correct information connected here. So now I'm going to click continue. And here it's asking me if I want to apply the data, which is the 3rd step. This is where the magic happens. And I want to say yes. I'm going to click generate down the bottom and wait for a second. And there you go, this beautiful 7 pages. There's our first one, Lucas, there's Juan. These are all fictitious students, by the way, and fictitious feedback just to protect my students' privacy. Amelia, all of the students are there. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through, and at this stage, just double checking everything's fitting in because I did that resizing earlier. So there's nothing that I need to change there. But if you had some different lengths of sentences, you might have to sort of resize and adapt, or if you spot a typo or something, you can do some editing at this stage. But I'm pretty happy with that. I have generated those 7 individual feedback forms in that way, and now I can save them and send them to my students. So Canva creates a different file for this one. You've still got your template, which you can use again by going back and clearing the data here. You can now use that for a different class. But this one has saved here. I'm going to change the title. This is Class 1 Practice Presentation Feedback. Oops. And I'm going to also add the name of each student at the top here for each page, because I'm going to download each of these pages. And if I don't change the name of each page, it's going to download as a number, and then I'm going to have to go through and open each one to see who it belongs to, which, you know, with 7 students, that's not such a big deal, but when you have 20, it takes a bit of time. So I've done that. So I've labeled each page, and now I'm going to go up here to the right, and I'm going to share and download those individually. I'm going to download them as a image, or you can do it as a little video if you've got any video on there. And it should download as a zip file. Now, because I changed the name for each page, I can just open up that zip file, see the students' names, and let's have a look. Where did it go? Went into my downloads. I can see the students' names and share it with them via their LMS or by email, or print it out, or whatever it is that I want to do. So I hope that was useful for you. For me, that step saves a whole lot of time using that Canva bulk create feature. You can use this in all sorts of things. You could create birthday cards for your students, little letters, and individualize them, but do it pretty quickly using that feature. So let me know how you use this. All of the links and a teacher's guide will be in the comments for this, and enjoy. See you in the next video.